Every day across the planet, dramatic events like this are being recorded not by professional news crews, but by members of the public. Jaw-dropping moments that have us on the edge of our seats. Now we've sent our cameras across the world to meet the people who captured this remarkable footage. Coming up, we meet the paraglider who survived this incredible fall.
It's a 100% miracle. I mean, I shouldn't be here today.
We tell the story of the man who sang to whales.
It just felt like an absolutely magical moment.
It's unbelievable!
And find out how this terrifying plane journey took a romantic twist.
It felt like we were just gonna fall right out of the sky. I thought we were gonna die.
These are the moments you might not believe if they hadn't been caught on camera. Smartphones have revolutionized the way we both film and watch video footage. But in recent years, there's been another game-changing gadget on the block. When it comes to capturing incredible aerial footage, drones have really taken off, providing us with dramatic viewpoints that we'd never seen before. Drones can be a great way to film wildlife, like these kangaroos in southern Australia. But it's vital that they're kept at a safe distance and don't scare the animals, especially when they're hopping mad. Ooh. These famous cliffs in Nazaré, Portugal, are notorious for the huge waves that crash between the rocks. Thanks to the drone camera, we get an incredible overhead view of the moment a man attempts to walk along a high wire suspended above the sea. And as he's buffeted by the waves, the safety rope, thankfully, does its job. Meanwhile, in British Columbia, daredevil Spencer Seabrook went one step further. He attempted to break the world record slackline walk, but without wearing a harness. And despite the odd slip, he completed the 64-meter walk. Our next story takes us to Pell City, Alabama, in America's Deep South. This drone camera takes to the skies to capture a bird's-eye view of Avondale Mill's famous smokestack, which has stood for 113 years as a symbolic reminder of the town's proud industrial past. But having been deemed unsafe, the chimney was scheduled for demolition. The man tasked with that job was Tim Pfeiffer. Among the crowd watching, his 22-year-old daughter, Allie.
Everyone was out. Like, there was a school that had stopped school for the day to let the kids come and watch. It was probably the biggest event that this town had seen in a while.
Tim rigged 32 pounds of explosives to the base of the 180-foot-tall smokestack.
Everyone was so excited because you have this air horn. Everything gets very silent. And it was very anticlimactic because after that first button press, you just heard a big pop and that was it. And we all stood around kind of like, okay, what now? And my dad was like, don't worry, we've got a second line ready. We had a few more bricks fall off, but it was still standing. So that was when my father had to get creative.
It seemed like the old smokestack was determined to stay put, so Tim got into his digger and began pulling away at the bricks.
My father has always been really rough and tumble, does whatever he needs to do. And so to see him tear it down was just like another crazy thing my father did. You could just feel like something was about to happen because the crowd went quiet and you could hear the smokestack kind of make this like, just like a churn noise.
The drone camera captured the dramatic moment when over 1,100 tons of brick landed on top of Tim's digger, the equivalent of 8 average-sized houses.
Oh my God!
To watch what I thought was my father's death. It's heart-stopping. It takes your breath away. And it was the longest moment of my life.
I saw my life pass before my eyes, but didn't have time to be terrified. I don't know if it's adrenaline, whatever, but something kicked in.
I think I screamed no like 8 times. And I started running. And I remember pushing people out of the way of the barricades and screaming, "That's my dad."
The minute the dust cleared, I'm throwing brick off of me and I'm reaching over here and somebody shows up over here at the door. I step out, I've got a bruise on my side, a little cut on my head. This is just good to be alive.
He seems okay.
When I walked up to him to really ask if he were okay, he just smiles at me with all this soot and dirt on his face, and he just says, "Well, I told you I'd bring it down."
I think the first thing Allie said to me was, "I don't think you'll ever die." You know, cats walk near me and drop dead because I'm stealing their lives from them. Upon watching the video, the realization of what had just happened hit me, and my legs like went out from underneath me. Right here, and when you look inside, there's no room for a human being inside the cab of that machine. So for the fact of me winding up in the corner of the cab is a miracle in itself.
The last 2 decades have seen a huge rise in the number of people taking part in extreme sports. That could be because of the spectacular footage that's been captured by cameras like this. Films that make us feel right at the heart of the action. In fact, it's now become unthinkable that someone would consider a skydive or a mountain climb without one. For this pair of thrill seekers, a hair-raising dirt bike trail nearly turned into a dirt bike fail when they took on this mountain ridge in Caneville, Utah.
So narrow! Oh! 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 It's so narrow! So steep. I'm gonna fall. So gnarly. Yeah, dude. I almost fell back there.
After a precarious balancing act, the 2 brothers made their way back down the 100-foot slope to safer ground.
Finally. Yeah, dude. That was scary.
High above Arizona, a group of skydivers take the concept of joyriding to the next level. With the help of a stunt coordinator, the adrenaline junkies plummeted at 120 miles an hour. Before parachuting down to a soft landing. Unlike the car,
That's 6. 3, 2, 1.
Smash!
Yep, I think it's safe to say that is a write-off.
I think we can patch it up and do it again.
But when it comes to extremes, Nottingham daredevils Jim Bradwell and Gary Wainwright like to set the bar even higher, and in 2017 embarked on a free-falling challenge to rival all others.
There are lots and lots of disciplines in skydiving. This particular one's called formation skydiving, which involves lots of people jumping together, doing different formations on the way down. The record for the largest formation was 202 people doing 2 different formations.
The objective of this skydive was to smash that record and was to actually go above the 202 and make 3 patterns.
So Gary and Jim left the East Midlands behind and headed to Eloy, Arizona, where they joined forces with skydivers from across the world.
We all turned up, and it really was a case of go big or go home. The tensions were very high. And then one of those things happened.
Come on, get your groove on, people. Let's go.
Somebody had put some music on, and slowly that music was turned up louder and louder. And that totally broke that tension that existed. Within a few minutes, there were 220 people fully geared up with all their parachutes, rocking away. There's high fives, there's a conga line. There's pom-poms going on. And it was electrifying. It just lifted the atmosphere. And I'll be honest, it was quite emotional. And with that vibe still flowing, we went out to load those aircraft to make a world record.
Ready, set, go!
As they attempted the crucial jump from 19,000 feet, it wasn't just the formation skydivers who needed to be at the top of their game.
The role of the camera team is to provide videos for the judges to be able to look at it and go, yes, that was complete. So you're just thinking, OK, so if I mess up, it'll cost them the record.
Finally, the 217 skydivers come together and appear to make the 3 different formations needed for the record. 1, 2, and 3. But will the judges agree?
Everybody's excited, everybody's anticipating, and it's almost electric because you all want to know, have you got a record or haven't you?
And there was a tense wait for the jump to be verified before the judges finally made their announcement.
Did you know at the time when you landed that grip, you were gripping the 3rd point of a 217-way 3-point sequential dive?
I'm not even going to try and explain to you how great that feels, but there were 230 people making a lot of noise when he announced that record.
All the British people on the event, we found ourselves in a bar in Phoenix, and some of us had horrendous bar tabs.
There are plenty more unbelievable moments still to come. A walk on the wild side, when the cameras got up close to some incredible animals.
One of them was kind of opening its mouth and almost mouthing.
And one man's emotional reunion with his beloved pets.
Oh my God, Daddy!
It was one of the happiest moments of my life.
The world of social media is so rife with videos of adorably cute animals, you could be forgiven for thinking it's why the internet was invented. And it's not just our pets. Some of the most watched moments caught on camera involve animals we very rarely get to see up close. This incredible footage from an animal rescue centre in Slovakia shows the bond between 2 lions and the woman known as their godmother. Michaela Zimanova rescued the pair as cubs in 2014 and raised them until they were too big for her to look after. But she still keeps in regular touch and is always guaranteed a warm welcome. The world's largest gathering of brown bears can be seen at Alaska's McNeil River State Game Sanctuary as they arrive in the summer months to fish for salmon. Drew Hamilton was on the riverside hoping to get a good view, and it's safe to say he got more than he bargained for. And it was a similar story for Sean Mannion when he stopped at a lay-by in the Scottish Highlands to take some photos.
You're funny.
Sean was staggered to find this unusually bold red deer peering into his car.
Oh, what an experience.
One of the most unusual wildlife encounters caught on camera in recent years was filmed by journalist and nature enthusiast Paul English. Paul travelled from his home city of Glasgow for a kayaking trip in the Canadian province of Manitoba in the hope of seeing one of the region's stunning sea creatures.
Okay.
The most I was hoping for was the possibility that I might see some whales. I've been on various whale watching expeditions before in Scotland and in America, and I had seen some whales in the distance. One of the things that we were told was that, being quite curious creatures, they did tend to respond to high-pitched noise. Someone had jokingly mentioned that, you know, singing to them might work, but so I thought I would sing to them. So I struck up some songs. The first song I sang was Wake Up by Arcade Fire. I've always been a fan of Deacon Blue. One of their songs, The Believers, I thought lent itself quite well to the Belugas.
The Belugas!
And the Gap Band, Oops Upside Your Head.
Ooh, ah, beluga! Said, ooh, ah, beluga! Whoa! Wow! I can't believe it! I can't believe it!
One of them had come to the back of my kayak, and it was basically headbutting my kayak. Must have known I was from Glasgow.
It's unbelievable! I'm buzzing!
I'm still quite thrilled to look at it.
It's back again!
Yep, it was back again. It stayed back again. When it started to spin the boat around, there was a little bit of fear because I thought, does it want to get me out?
I've been terrorised! Terrorised by a beluga! It's just incredible. It really is incredible.
Having got his first glimpse of a beluga, Paul decided to take a closer look.
When I got into the water and actually saw them in their environment, and this beluga whale turned and floated in space past me, it just felt like an absolutely magical moment.
Beluga whales are known as sea canaries, and it's not difficult to hear why. They don't have vocal cords. They actually sing through nasal sacs near their blowhole. They use sound to navigate, find food, and to communicate with other whales. So it's crucial to their survival. They've even been known to mimic human speech.
They were looking at me and they were chirruping and whirring and clicking, and at one point one of them was kind of opening its mouth and almost mouthing to me, and there was this feel the noise kind of travelling. There was an element of communication going on between me and them. What they were trying to tell me to do, I'm not entirely sure.
In August 2017, the United States was struck by the worst storm it had seen in almost a decade, when Hurricane Harvey brought loss and devastation to parts of Texas. Footage captured the torrential downpour that turned roads into rivers and saw thousands of homes evacuated.
This car's completely submerged. Pretty crazy stuff.
45-year-old Lester Morrow documented his own experience of the flood on his mobile phone.
Houston has amazing weather. We get moderate rainfall. It doesn't flood here often, but we are prone to hurricanes every once in a while.
This is what torrential rain and wind look like. Rain blowing in sideways.
The area around the Morrow family's 500-acre farm felt the full force of Hurricane Harvey.
Saturday morning, the streets are still dry, but you can see the ditches, and this creek is all the way to the top.
We had about 50 inches of rainfall within a couple of days, and at some point, there was nowhere for the water to go. It happened so fast, there was no time to think about it. You feel your heart growing and your pulse, and you're trying to keep your senses about you of what I need. I knew I had to leave, but what do I need to take with me?
And it was at that point Lester had to make the heartbreaking decision to evacuate his home, leaving dozens of animals behind.
I grabbed my dogs and my older son, and we made our escape. A couple hours later, I got a picture of my house with the water up to the ceiling. And at that point, I had realized that all my little animals were most likely gone.
Come on, Patty. We'll show your mom what your chore is.
A lot of folks say you're a farmer, so you raise your animals to eat, and that's no, absolutely no. They're a family. They're my fur family. They're just all pets, be it the cows or the horses. They're just pets.
Yeah, dump it in there. Hurry. Ooh.
So yeah, I mourned them for about 3 days. I was for sure I'd never see them again. I'm certain I'd never see them again.
3 days later, Lester got the call to say it was safe to return.
Woo.
Preparing for the worst, he had no idea what he would find.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so there's obviously my porch gone.
There was nothing in my home salvageable. It was deemed unlivable. You know, everything you'd ever saved your money to buy was gone. It was so hard.
These stairs, I don't know where they came from, these steps. We got this fence here pushed over. Woo!
My focus right here was just on the trash and all the fences that were tore up.
Look at this over here. I don't know where all this stuff floated in from.
I just happened to glance up towards the dry ground at that point, and here comes this little black object running towards me.
Oh, my God! There's Patty!
And all of a sudden, my focus is no longer on the fences.
There's Patty! Patty!
Now, I know pigs can swim, but not for 3 days.
Oh, my God!
And then I caught myself crying.
Patty! Oh.
That's the point where I just lost all sense of what was going on around me. You just flooded with so many emotions.
Oh, this is so stupid. Patty, oh my God, baby.
Patty wanted love, or she wanted to be fed. I'm not real sure.
How did you survive that? I know you're so scared, baby. Oh, I see Meg. There's Meg. Meg, come here, baby.
You know, I wish I could have been more composed and been able to, you know, keep my man points about me. But it was one of the happiest moments of my life.
How did you survive? Come here, baby. Woo. Okay, I'm fine. My animals are okay.
Come here, Sam. Come on. Come here, love. Come on.
Lester has successfully rebuilt his farm, and his cherished fur family continues to grow.
Welcome the new addition to the family. Isn't this beautiful? Meg had her baby. Oh.
Coming up after the break. A car chase on the streets of Paris. And the paraglider who fell from 50 feet and lived to tell the tale.
I decided to climb down my rig, hung from the lowest point I could, and just let go.
And he's jumping. He's gonna jump.
The role of the have-a-go hero in tackling crime remains a controversial subject. To many, the bravery of the everyday public's to be commended, while others would say it's simply a risk not worth taking. Wisconsin, USA. a woman refills her car, unaware that she's being watched. Around 38,000 carjackings take place every year in the United States. On this occasion, the woman's quick thinking prevents her car from being stolen. But the thieves did get away with her handbag and her phone. It's for good reason that dogs are known as man's best friend. This stray pup in Montenegro became an internet sensation when he heroically saved a woman from a potential mugging. But for pure high-speed drama, our next piece of vigilante justice takes some beating. Parisian biker Chris R.S. shows that not all heroes wear capes. In this case, it was something more festive.
I was trying to make people laugh by riding in the streets of Paris wearing a Father Christmas costume. I'd already gone down the Champs-Élysées. I could see people filming me, taking pictures of me, so I was making people laugh. It was the goal, the primary goal.
But this Christmas comic caper was about to take a dramatic turn.
I could see a car which was either not going to stop or stop close to the people. The light turns green and straight away I look to my left and then I see the car hitting this gentleman. In no time I see him flying in the air and hit the ground.
Chris was now a key witness to a hit and run.
At that point, I got off my bike to check on the person in the car. And this is when I realised the driver had already gone into reverse gear, getting ready to go away again. And it's from that point the chase race begins. We reach the first junction, but the traffic light is unfortunately red.
Désolé, le feu rouge, désolé.
Then she tries to go through cars, which she does very well.
Ah là 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 là.
So I have to slalom too.
Hey!
As they headed into rush hour traffic, Chris had yet another chance to stop the getaway car.
I try to calm her down. I get off my bike again and we stare properly into each other's eyes.
Faut arrêter. Éteins. 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 Ah! Oh là là.
When I arrived at Place de la Madeleine, I saw the police officers.
Monsieur, monsieur, il y a une voiture qui vient d'écraser quelqu'un et là elle essaye de s'échapper. C'est une Clio.
Donc, ils me voient y arriver en Père Noël, mais They see me dressed as Father Christmas, but I think the sound of my voice, my stare, my gestures clearly demonstrated a real situation. I think he believed me immediately.
Je pense qu'il m'a cru tout de suite. Là, 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 là. Là, 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 les...
I think this was the point when the emotions and the adrenaline truly peaked. All the passers-by were thinking that I was a police biker dressed as Father Christmas. For once, I was grateful for the Paris traffic.
The investigation into this incident is ongoing. Although badly injured, the man who was hit eventually made a full recovery.
Many people tell me, you're a hero, you're a hero. No, a hero is someone who helps people when there's a terrorist attack. It's a soldier on the war front. I would just say I was a good Samaritan.
Invented by NASA in the 1960s as a landing method for lunar capsules, paragliding's been described as the closest a human can get to flying like a bird. It may be exciting, but it's also dangerous. A paraglider prepared to take off from Mount Maunganui in New Zealand when a gust of wind took control of his canopy. Incredibly, the man was unhurt, but he did lose a shoe. A Russian adventurer was enjoying an incredible view of the Himalayas when something hit his paraglider. In fact, it was a pair of vultures, and one was tangled in the ropes, forcing the paraglider to make an emergency crash landing using a backup parachute.
Я жив, я цел, I'm okay. Так, сейчас я тебе крылышко освобожу, блин.
The crash may have ruffled a few feathers, but miraculously both man and bird lived to fly another day. Meet Damien Leroy, professional kiteboarder and surf champion. His amazing feats on the water even earned him a role as a stuntman on the Baywatch movie.
I was just 18 when I got into the sport of kite surfing and made a living out of it. I traveled the world competing and winning some of the biggest events, and I've just been lucky to enjoy life and do a lot of cool activities.
But even the best can have an off day. For Damien, that day came while he was riding along the coast near his hometown of Jupiter, Florida, in a powered paraglider.
The conditions of the day were beautiful blue skies and very predictable wind. I've never had an issue paragliding. I've never once had a crash. I've always been super safe because I take it really seriously as far as safety.
Damien's problems began when his engine stalled on a turn, causing the paraglider to spin.
Within a split second, my canopy spun up top and my engine spun the opposite way. So within 3 or 4 seconds, I probably had about 5 or 6 twists. I wasn't super worried because if you can reach above those twists, you can fly your lines and steer your kite. But it had spun so many times so fast that it was already further than my hands. So now I knew, okay, I'm out of control as far as the control of the kite. So I was like, ooh, this could be a bad scenario.
The wind was carrying Damien over the beach and speeding toward a built-up area. Rather than risk a hard landing, he decided to take matters into his own hands.
I see these really high trees. They're not soft by any means, but it's something to break my fall. So I decided to climb down my rig, hung from the lowest point I could, and just let go.
He's jumping, he's gonna jump. He's off the thing. He jumped.
It was a pretty big jump, over 50 feet. I blacked out as I cartwheeled through the bushes. I came to right away, probably 10 or 15 seconds later, and you know, that's like the humbling feeling when you realize that I just had an accident.
To the right. Where's the pain? My pelvis. Your pelvis.
After being airlifted to hospital, Damien began the long road to recovery.
I had suffered a broken femur, ruptured artery in my leg, 3 broken ribs, one of my ribs punctured a lung. I broke my pelvis, I broke my back, broke my sacrum. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yesterday, I couldn't lift my leg. Now, I can lift my leg. What the?
After nearly a year of rehabilitation, Damien was eventually able to return to his passions of surfing and paragliding, but with a new outlook on life.
Everything I do now, it's more gratifying because I'm grateful to be able to do it, versus before I just did it because I was good at things. It's a 100% miracle. I mean, I am more than blessed. I shouldn't be here today.
Still to come, the Coldplay fan who became the star of the show.
I went on cloud nine, arms up, 80-odd thousand, and just embrace the moment.
That's weird, hold on.
And find out how this terrifying flight took an unexpected turn.
She screams, and I just thought that was the greatest moment of my life.
The use of smartphone cameras at concerts are now so commonplace that some artists have recently asked to ban them. They say it ruins the atmosphere. But for some, no gig or festival's quite the same without capturing those special musical moments on camera. Like at this festival in Mexico, when a young-at-heart 85-year-old showed that music isn't just for the mind and soul, but apparently can heal the body too. Across the country, a group of drummers were videoed performing on Tulum Beach, but it was the freak weather that stole the show. This waterspout is a type of columnar vortex, but I'm sure you knew that anyway. A performance by the Vienna Chamber Orchestra in Ephesus, Turkey. The stray dog helps himself to the best seat in the house before breaking into a yawn. Clearly, not classically trained. In 2017, one music fan got more than he bargained for when he went to a concert in his home city of Dublin. Robbo Byrne's life had changed forever when, at the age of 17, a swimming pool accident left him paralysed from the waist down. The personal fitness instructor found himself centre stage when he and his family went to a Coldplay gig.
The lights came on and you were in the middle. Me and my sister just got a little bit closer to the small stage, and two lads were trying to catch balloons that Coldplay had released. One of them just fell over me and got up very apologetic, and next thing he was like, "Do you want to lift up to get a better view?" Next thing, a little bit closer, and then the crowd just kind of parted like the Red Sea. It was like a bit closer, and then literally we were beside the stage, and then there was a little small security guard trying to tell me to get down.
But while the security weren't too happy with Rob's crowd surfing, Coldplay lead singer Chris Martin welcomed him onto the stage.
Chris Martin had to run over and pull the chair up in case I fell. And then, of course, got 10 handbags hanging out of the wheelchair. My mum's handbag, my sister's handbag, the cousin's handbag. You can see everything just hanging out the back of the chair. It's unbelievable. I went on cloud nine, arms up, 80-odd thousand, and just embraced the moment. And then he was like, "Can you play the harmonica?" And I was like, "Yeah." I've never played it before, but when Chris Martin asked you, "Can you play the harmonica?" you're just going to say yeah. And he was like, we'll make up a song on the spot just now.
Here we are in Dublin, and what an awesome crowd. I've been around the whole wide world, never seen anybody so loud.
It was amazing. 80,000 people listening to me and him.
But Dublin, Ireland is where I want to play.
It'll never happen again, but I have that feeling now for the rest of my life that it will always stay with me.
But Dublin's where we get that loudest noise.
Chris let me keep the harmonica. So, yeah, I haven't been practicing that much, but I remember the tune.
A recent study into the human brain claimed that the idea of your life flashing before your eyes at the moment of near death isn't just the stuff of films. It is a scientific phenomenon, and something the people in these next clips might relate to.
Absolutely the maddest road I've ever been down.
If you've been grumbling about your commute to work this week, just be grateful you don't have to travel along this bus route every day.
But consider these doors may not be that secure.
These British tourists filmed their white-knuckle ride along a cliff edge in the Himalayas just meters away from a 2,000-foot drop. And if you're struggling with the humidity, there's a handily placed shower to help you cool off.
Oh no! I can't close the window!
Stefan Bartel captured this close call on camera when a mountaineer tried to dislodge a rock he was climbing in Spain. Incredibly, no one was hurt. Our next clip comes from China's Sichuan province. A surveillance camera captures the terrifying moment a 2-year-old girl attempts to cross a busy junction. After a few heart-stopping seconds, the girl reappears, thankfully unharmed, before her grandmother, seen here with the backpack, carries her to safety. And finally, when Catherine Wareham's boyfriend, Anthony, suggested taking her for a romantic flight over Vancouver, she had no idea what lay in store.
When we took off, I was just shaking on the inside. I don't like the feeling of not being on the ground and having my feet planted where I know I'm safe. So I was taking some selfies and trying to keep myself calm.
But any sense of calm Catherine might have been feeling soon disappeared when, an hour into the flight, the plane's engine suddenly cut out.
Babe. That's weird, hold on. I'm not getting any response over the controls here. We might have to land in the field.
It felt like we were just gonna fall right out of the sky. That caused severe internal anxiety to the max. I thought we were gonna die. Yeah, and then he decided to tell me to pull out the checklist, and I had to be as calm as I possibly could, but I was so terrified.
This was forced landing. Car P on.
Okay, got it.
Set attitude and trim for best glide.
Oh my gosh.
Going through the checklist, I didn't really understand what any of it meant.
Got it.
It just all sounded like plain code or jargon.
Pause check.
Can you go skip? I know this one's. Can you start at 10?
10. Verify flight ring is engaged.
Got it.
Initiate ring engagement process. Follow steps 11 to 14.
Okay, go for it.
But as she got to the bottom of the list, Catherine realised she'd been duped.
Oh, we're getting some response.
You're lying.
What's go on?
Does the pass?
Go on, please.
I hate you.
Huh?
She puts her hands in the air and she screams, and I just thought that was the greatest moment of my life.
Can you please tell me, can you keep reading through the steps, hon?
Will the pilot in command love the passenger forever? Check.
Keep going, babe.
Will you marry the pilot in command?
Oh yes, it turns out the supposed engine failure was all part of Anthony's plan to ask Catherine to marry him.
I didn't know what to do with the ring when he handed it to me. I felt sick to my stomach, but I was also like crazy excited, and I was like so in love, but I just wanted to punch him, and there was a lot of emotion. Like I was just like all over the place.
Such an idiot.
Is that a yes?
I love you so much. No freaking
At no point did I feel guilty for what I was doing in terms of this proposal. I figured if she can put up with this, she can put up with anything.
Anthony's elaborate proposal may have had the outcome he was hoping for, but unfortunately, it hasn't helped Catherine's fear of flying.
I have flown with Anthony 0 times since the proposal, and I have yet to decide if and when I'll ever go again.